Hello students, in this series of curriculum studies, today I am going to explain about components of curriculum. So let us begin. As we all know that components of curriculum are the essential elements which are there in every kind of curriculum at every level, may it be secondary, primary, tertiary, higher education, professional. In every kind of curriculum, these elements or components will be there. So these components are four in number, which are aims, goals and objectives, subject matter and content, learning experiences and evaluation approaches. So we will discuss all these elements one by one. Just remember that all these four elements are interdependent. They affect each other and we cannot separate them in any kind of curriculum. So let us move forward towards the first component, that is aims, goals and objectives. In every curriculum, there has to be some aim, there has to be some goal or objectives. It means what is to be done. For example, Indian education system is divided mainly in three levels: primary, secondary, higher secondary. This is school system of education. Then we move forward to college life or to universities stage or to some professional courses. So even in those courses also, we have some aims, goals and objectives. So this component answers that what is to be done in a particular stage level of education. So for example, like the aims, goal, objectives are broad learning objectives or outcomes which are particular, which follow a particular standard, which standard, which criteria for each level or cycle we are going to achieve. It also describes that what students should know and be able to do when they complete their school education or a particular level of education. What kind of outcomes will be there in every kind of domain? There are three domains: cognitive, affective and cognitive. So cognitive and affective will be like knowledge and understanding, values and attitudes, that is affective, and skills and competencies will be the third domain. So in every domain, what kind of outcomes we are expecting. So everything will be described in this component or this element of a curriculum. Here is one example I'm showing you. Like for example, in India, mainly the school education on all stages should focus on, it is written in our curriculum NCF 2005, that the school curriculum at every stage should focus 21st century skills such as critical thinking, creativity, scientific tempo, communication, collaboration, multilingualism, problem solving, ethics, social responsibility and digital literacy. It should minimize rote learning, it should encourage holistic development, and we should give orientation of Indian and local traditions. And students should develop by the end of their schooling ethical reasoning, social emotional learning, quantitative and logical reasoning. So this is one example. So there are so many kinds of curriculums, there are so many kinds of levels, there are so many kinds of different kinds of curriculum, and there are different kinds of aims for every curriculum. So this component describes the aims, goals and objectives of a particular kind of curriculum. This is one example here. Now we move forward to the second component, that is curriculum content or subject matter. Now this element or this component of curriculum will describe that which subject matter should be included in a particular kind of curriculum for which the objectives have already been established. We know that now here comes the relationship of the first element and the second element. If we have already decided some objectives, to achieve those objectives, we need a particular kind of subject matter. So which kind of subject matter, that will be described in this component. Let us move ahead. Like it describes the structure of curriculum content, which learning areas we are going to include to achieve those objectives which we have already framed. Which subjects we are going to include, what kind of organization of content will be there within that framework. Will there be some choice for the students or not? At what stage the choice will be given? What will be the pattern of subjects? What would kind of learning areas to be studied at each stage, each cycle? Will it be elective? Will there be core subjects the students have to study, or will there be some optional subjects in the higher secondary stage? How many hours will be assigned for each subject or learning area in a stage or cycle? And what kind of standards of resources will be given there for implementation of all this structure of content? So this particular questions will be answered in this part, that is component 2, curriculum content. Let us move to the third component, that is learning experiences. Now, to fulfill a certain kind of objective, we have decided a particular kind of content and subject or areas. Now, for this subject or areas, what kind of teachers have to be there? What will be their qualification, teaching load, students, what will be the number of students per class in each subject, what kind of materials will be required, textbooks, computers, other equipments, facilities, classroom, furniture, everything. And specifically this component describes that which kind of learning experiences. So these learning experiences are based on all these things: teachers, students, materials, teaching methodology, approaches employed in the classroom. Everything together makes the learning experiences. So what kind of learning experiences, at which stage, by which kind of teachers, how many to how many students, through which kind of materials, and through which kind of teaching methodology. So this kind of answers we will get in this third component. Now remember that the first component, objective, is affecting the content, and now on the base of objectives and contents only we are choosing the learning experiences, right? So this is all interrelated. Now let's move to the fourth component, that is evaluation approaches. Now we have done so much, but we need to see that whether whatever we are doing, whatever curriculum we are in hand, is it effective or not. So you can see here that Warden and Sanders said that all curricula to be effective must have the element of evaluation. So if we will not evaluate that whether our objectives were good, achievable, realistic, whether we have achieved those objectives with right kind of contents, whether we have selected the right kind of contents, whether we have selected the right kind of teachers, whether we have provided right kind of methodology, learning experience to a good number of students or not. If we are not evaluating all this, the all exercise done earlier is bound to fail. Because to bring the improvements in the further cycle, this component is very essential. As Tuckman is defined, that evaluation is meeting the goals and matching them with the intended outcomes. We know objectives are our intended outcomes. What kind of behavioral changes we want in the students. So if this curriculum is not evaluating those changes, what is the fun of making all that curriculum and implementing it? So curriculum evaluation here may refer to the formal determination of quality, effectiveness, or value of the program, process, and product of curriculum. So curriculum evaluation will be assessed and reported definitely through students' behavior achievements. It describes the importance of assessing the extent to which students achieve the outcomes of each subject, in every activity, what kind of achievements are there. And it will also give, this component will also prescribe types of assessment strategies, whether we want to assess it in, if we are checking the knowledge and understanding, naturally we need to see it through written or oral performance. Maybe for that practical skills demonstrations, we are checking the affective, cognitive domain, right? And for affective, to test the affective domain, we need to test some attitudes. So what kind of strategy we are going to apply for assessing a particular kind of domain is also suggested in this component, that is evaluation, right? So in this way, all these four components are essential, interrelated. You can see in this picture, they are interrelated, essential, affecting each other, and the cycle goes on and on. In curriculum development process, we frame the aims and objectives, we select the subject matter on the basis of aims, and on the basis of this subject matter we decide methods and strategies, and then we go for the student evaluation and evaluation of the whole program, and again then we see what are our like limits, what were our limitations. We need to cover those limitations, we again reframe aims and objectives, and this cycle goes on. So these are four essential components of a curriculum. If there is change in one component, there will be change in all the components. If you change the subject matter, it means there must be some change in the aims and objectives, strategies, or evaluation procedure. And everything should be in harmony and in synchronization to each other. If we suppose we have selected an aim that we want that critical thinking, and if we are not evaluating with a certain kind of evaluation procedure that whether the critical thinking has been developed or not, what is the fun of making that aim, right? And for developing critical thinking, what kind of subject matter we are exposing to the students, and what kind of strategies, if we are giving only lecture, how we can expect that there will be a critical thinking? So that's why we cannot evaluate. So it is all interrelated and we cannot separate them. I hope you have understood the interrelationship of components of this curriculum. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.